Number one is for this week is as we mentioned at the top, it is May 4th, so it is Star Wars Day. Disney Plus had some fun additions in store for Star Wars Day, including fly-throughs of the Millennium Falcon and a First Order Star Destroyer, a Simpsons crossover when the Force Awakens from a nap, Star Wars biomes, and 15 pieces of art to commemorate all 11 feature films and several series. I'm going to sneeze. That's how you cover kids. There was also a new line of toys announced, some different art things. Disney showed their apparently functional lightsaber, a couple other, big collectible things. One of the toy things was cost like $5,000. It's like, this isn't a toy. That's not a toy.
No, it's not a toy anymore.
There was the R2D2 Lego set that we talked about last week. And, those were the main things. There wasn't any real big announcements. The main thing was the debut of the new animated series, The Bad Batch, which is from Clone Wars creator Dave Filoni. And we have said that we're going to do The Bad Batch on a weekly basis. This was an extra long one. The regular episodes are only going to be like half an hour or so, but this one was like damn near feature film length for an animated thing. But The Bad Batch episode 1, Aftermath, focuses on Clone Force 99, which debuted in season 7 of Clone Wars. These clone troopers are genetically deficient but combat enhanced. The show picks up as Order 66 is occurring and Troop 99, made up of Hunter, Wrecker, Echo, Tech, and Crosshair, do not respond to the order, even going so far as to let a Padawan escape. It is clear that Crosshair does not agree with Hunter. And my document got all wonky on me. It's clear that Crosshair does not agree with Hunter, and as they travel back to the clone world home of Kamino, the pair continue to have conflict. During the lengthy introduction episode, we learn that due to their genetic deficiencies, the troops of 99 do not respond the same way as the regs or regular clone troopers do. The crew meets a child, Omega, who is more than what she seems. During some exhibition, Tech reveals that Echo, who was a reg, is not one of the 5 sufficient clones and surmises that Omega is the 5th remaining efficient clone. We meet newly minted Empire Admiral Tarkin, who wants to evaluate the clones and sends 99 on a mission to eliminate a group of insurgents. The troop, expecting to find droids, learns that their target are Republic sympathizers led by a young Saw Gerrera. The troop returns to Kamino to rescue 99. Crosshair is recalibrated by Tarkin's order and begins to hunt down Hunter and the rest of the crew, but not before they can escape with Omega off to new adventures. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, your first foray into any of the animated Star Wars things?
It is, yeah. And the thing I'll say, like right off the bat, is you realize it's animated at first, and then I like totally forgot. I mean, they do such a good job with the animation, and the storyline I thought was like just interesting, like more than interesting enough, really, that I like didn't care about it being animated, wasn't thinking about it at all, ever being animated. They do it like, I mean, I guess it's the thing when you're based off a sci-fi thing where if crazy things are happening, you just take it. But it didn't like even do enough like crazy things where I'm like, oh, this is animated. They couldn't really do this. Like it definitely had a really good storyline for this first episode. Like you said, it was basically a movie. So that was, and I liked that. I was actually down, and I like said to you, I was like, oh man, I thought maybe they're all going to be this long, and I'd be down for it because good Star Wars content, which I believe this is, at least with this first episode, is more than welcome. And like we say, do something different, and this is different. This is, obviously, the thing is, we always say with Star Wars is like, yeah, you can mention Jedi, you can mention Skywalkers, but you don't need to have them in here. And we didn't. And it was still good. For me, I really enjoyed it. When it ended, I'm like, yes, we can do this.
Yeah, I felt like having seen a little bit more of the animated stuff, like having spent a little bit of time with the Clone Wars, like the animation style is exactly the same. It almost, and I read a few reviews online, and it said it could be almost like this could be the 8th season of Clone Wars, basically. But being that it takes place after Order 66 and everything, but it's just kind of cool. Like, I like these stories because it fills in a lot of the gaps. Like, as Mandalorian fills in some of the gaps of what happened after Return of the Jedi, I think that part of the reason that they initially made the Clone Wars series was to fill in the gaps between the prequels and the original trilogy. And I think that this kind of takes that a step further. I watched the trailer as well. The character Fennec Shand, who's in The Mandalorian, is going to be in this. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some cameos from some other popular characters that they have not teased yet. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Darth Vader in this. They did mention that there's someone that they're going to see towards the end of the episode. They mentioned that there's someone that they're going to see on whatever other planet. But, you know, I think this is cool, and it's going to be 14 episodes. I'm curious to see if they go the length of, you know, is this going to be like a one-off thing? Is it going to be multiple seasons? Is it going to be, you know, what's the timeline on this as far as how much they plan to do this? It definitely was pretty cool. Did you check out any of the other like shorts that they had?
No, I didn't have time today. This was, you know, this week I'll have more time. I actually give myself a little break, but I will between, you know, now and, you know, whatever. But the Simpsons one, I'm stoked about that, being a Simpsons guy. And I'll probably end up buying the $5,000, you know, whatever. Like,
shut up.
Yeah, because I got that lying around. You know, I saw all that and I was like, I still need to catch up on other things that, you know, missed, whether it was for the show or just general life things. I think the thing too that I thought was like, I saw some other reviews of it. It was like, you know, it's cool that they do this for this, but yet they don't do this for the movies. And it's like, why not? Like, this is, and you did it with some of the movies that we talked about and what we like, but the main Star Wars movies, you know, what brings in the, you know, the 100 million opening weekend thing, whatever. That's not even like really accurate, but it's like, this was good. I enjoyed this. And if you did this with like actual people in a movie, I think it'd be like pretty rad. I mean, they could have taken this storyline and made this, you know, broaden out to 2 hours, and I think people would have been excited about it. And so, like, in a way, I was like, I ended this episode kind of like, this is great. Kind of bums me out because why can't we just do this for these movies that we love, based on movies that we weren't even alive to see actually when they happened? That's the thing that I always get kind of weirded out with, like, Star Wars content that I like, because it's like, oh, just do this for the actual Star Wars movies.
I think that between Mandalorian, the Clone Wars, which is really, really popular, it's very successful, and Rebels, which is also pretty popular. I don't think it's as popular as Clone Wars, but with this now, and it's getting, and we're kind of going into a dry season. You know, Loki's coming up in June, but, you know, May, there's not really anything going on, and then summer is usually pretty slow in general. This is going to get a lot of shine, but I do think that at this point, maybe Star Wars lives better on the small screen than it does on the big screen.
Yeah,
you know, maybe that's just what it is.
And if it means giving us content like this, where it is new storylines, it is new characters, and then some old characters come back in, that's fine. Like, I mean, I had no problem with Luke Skywalker coming in The Mandalorian.
Right.
You know, like, what I mean? Like, I had no issue with that. Just don't make it a Skywalker storyline just because we have to, you know, do this. That's the thing that, you know, got us both when we did our Star Wars, you know, movie review. And I thought this was like refreshing to me, in the sense that, you know, the other storylines that we've done with Star Wars that aren't the main, you know, 9 movies, because the ones that aren't the main 9 movies, other obviously than 4, 5, and 6, are like, we enjoy those to a degree more than we enjoy the other 6. And it's like, just more of this, please. However they want to do it, I don't care. Like, I mean, I know other people, you know, want to have the experience, and I do like the experience of going to the movies and seeing Star Wars up on the board. I mean, that's just cool to see. I 100% agree. And one of my favorite things was seeing the first one of the, you know, the last 3, and, you know, you see it just up there, all it says was Star Wars, because you don't need any more. and you're pumped about it and whatever you think about the movie afterwards, but just that feeling is great. But it's weird to me that they don't necessarily learn from these kind of things as much as you'd like to think, where people like love Clone Wars and they're like, this was different content. Let's go and make 3 movies that aren't actually that good.
Well, and we've kind of said this too, to a certain extent, especially when we did Mandalorian, is that when they turned the franchise over to J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson, maybe they should have been turning the franchise over to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, because they seem to get it, like what Star Wars is and what it means to people and why people like it and those sort of things. And they understand how to tell those stories. Whereas, you know, J.J. Abrams is an incredibly talented director. Obviously, he salvaged the Star Trek series, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And made it interesting, because I've never given a shit about Star Trek. And, you know, I will see those movies. You know, I don't necessarily look forward to them or like geek out over them or whatever, but I will see them and enjoy them. So that's probably the best that you're going to get. But, and I like The Force Awakens, and we both kind of agreed that we like The Force Awakens. It was just that there wasn't a steady hand throughout. And I think that that's what doomed the sequel trilogy, but we've had that conversation, so I'm not going to rehash it.
I think the thing I'll say is just like with Dave Filoni, it's just, if this isn't the thing that kind of gets him, I mean, I'm sure he wants to do it, but if this isn't the thing that gets Disney to get him to do these movies, you know, Jon Favreau and Dave, both of those guys involved in the next trilogy, because there's going to be another trilogy. That's what's going to happen. What can it be? I mean, people are going to like this. I just know, based off this first episode, this is going to be good. It's going to be entertaining. Will it be Mandalorian level? No, because it's just Mandalorian level is just, I think, incredible. Plus, Baby Yoda is such a star. You're not going to have that kind of content with this. But I really hope that something like this, I hope it kills it. Like, maybe it's me just hoping because we are Star Wars people and we want it to be good. We're not rooting for it to be bad. I think you know, a couple of people have told us, like, do you guys actually like Star Wars? I love Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, I love Star Wars. I have like 4, you know, I have like shirts of Star Wars. I have stuff of Star Wars. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was a little kid. And yeah, it's based off of those movies, but I also like the other things that come along with it, the first 3 movies. And I want things to be good. Nothing would make me happier than the next trilogy to be awesome. I would love the next trilogy to be better than the first trilogy, if that is at all possible. You know what I mean? Like, I know that's not possible, but you know what I mean? It's like, we're not rooting against this. We're rooting for it. It's just they don't want us to enjoy it for whatever reason. And this is, to me, a sign. Maybe this is a sign with The Mandalorian and this in between the movies, you know, season 2 of Mandalorian and then this. Maybe they're like, oh, maybe we gotta right this ship. We have to right this ship with those movies.
Yeah, like I said, I think at this point maybe these stories are just better told on TV, because, and we're going to kind of get into this, you know, way down the line in a different topic, but you can just tell more complex stories on TV because you have the time. Not every movie is the Snyder Cut. You know what I mean? It's not going to be 4 hours long. Not every movie is going to be Return of the King director's cut, which is even longer than the Snyder Cut. That's not realistic, but like, to really be able to tell these stories and to have them all be like totally fleshed out the way that they want, I think that it just works better on TV. I think, and this is sort of the other thing where, you know, I think that unfortunately, Marvel and Star Wars are going to be very directly compared to one another because Disney owns both. They're putting a lot of money into both, and they're both beloved franchises, right? So I think that Marvel works, it's being shown that it works just fine on television with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it's a guaranteed winner at the box office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe Star Wars at this time, when you have people like Favreau, Filoni, and others who want to tell these more complex stories, and we're going to get Obi-Wan, and we're going to get Andor, and we're going to get, you know, the Ahsoka series, and we're going to get, you know, whatever. We're going to get all these different shows. Maybe it's just for the better of the brand to put it on TV. Now, I will say, as far as both of those things go, that as good as Falcon and the Winter Soldier and as good as WandaVision were, neither of them are as good as The Mandalorian. And so maybe that tells me that Star Wars is just more suited for the small screen at this time.
Sure. And I wouldn't disagree with you at all on that. I mean, as much as I like the thing with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is, like I've said when we just talked about it, was just, it correlates right with my favorite Marvel movie and one of my just favorite movies in in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. But yeah, I mean, Mandalorian is the best show on television. Like,
it's to
me, I think it really is. I honestly believe it is. Being a Star Wars person certainly doesn't hurt my case on that. But to me, it was the most appointment television I've had in a long time. I mean, literally, it's like come home from work, because you can't, like, there are no appointments because it's not on at a certain time. But it was like come home from work, make dinner, Mandalorian. That order, that's what we're doing. And it brought back, this kind of thing. And that's and if Star Wars does it, then just keep doing this and maybe wait a while for the next 3 movies. That would be great. Wait a while to make up. If we have to wait 6 or 7 more years to have a good Star Wars trilogy, that's fine, because we waited 25 years to have a terrible one. So yeah. But we'll move forward and we'll keep reviewing this. I'm excited about it. Are you excited about it, Brandon?
I really liked it. It does make me want to go back and watch more of the Clone Wars.
Me too.
So, and
I think that's like be a part of my homework the next week or so is go back.
That's and the thing is, I would say IGN put out an article that said it was essential episodes to view for the Bad Batch of Clone Wars, Rebels, and Mandalorian. And so because I started Clone Wars and I watched the first 5 episodes. There's a lot of fluff and a lot of filler, but I know that there's also awesome shit in there too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like everybody has said, oh, you really like Darth Maul. Well, watch this.
There you go.
So, so that, I think maybe that's something that I'd like to do, but I'm excited to keep going. The next episode's Friday. So we're getting we're going to be right back into it with another episode here, in just a couple days. So, the other thing that was really nice about this was I watched it with my son, because he has watched parts of, and this is, I have, honestly, I can say that I have nothing to do with this, because he's watched parts of all 9 mainline Rise or Skywalker Saga movies, and the only ones that he likes are the originals, and I have nothing to do with that.
Sure.
Most kids, I think, kind of gravitate towards the prequels because they're so zany and Jar Jar and all that, but he loves 3PO and R2 so much and they're the most present in the original trilogy. So that's
I would like for our listeners to let us know on that too, if any of them have kids, just if they've watched them with their kids, which you should. By the time the kids age 5, 6, you probably should have seen at least the original 3. But I would like to know what they think, because I don't know, kids are super honest too. That's that's the great thing about kids, is that they'll just flat out be like, this is great, this sucks. Yeah. And there's no in between.
Right. And that was the thing, was I didn't know, because none of those characters are in this per se, what his feelings on it would be. But he sat through the entire, 75 minutes or whatever it was. And at the end, he said, I want to watch the next one. I said, well, it's not on until Friday. So he's in, you know what I mean? So
beautiful.
And I think that might be my in for Clone Wars, because I can tell him, well, Clone Wars is like this. And it has those characters that, because Yoda and the droids and Obi-Wan and stuff are in it. So
yeah, well, that's awesome.
Yep.